All right. Good morning if you're in Hawaii. Good afternoon if you're on the East Coast, like Mr. Looper. We, as an RIA board, decided it would be a good idea to sit down with each of the board members and conduct an interview just so then that way everybody gets the opportunity to get to know everybody who's on our board. Me personally, I find that it's very easy to make assumptions and think certain things about individuals, but when you get to sit down with them and talk story and hear the story of their lives and their businesses, makes everything very, very real. Ben, thanks for giving us some of your time today. I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Good to spend time. And I appreciate you coming up with this format, Anthony. I think it's a great idea and great way for us to get out to our RIA members.
Thanks for being my guinea pig too and going first.
I didn't realize that was going to be in that position, but I'm glad to be that.
Right on, man. A few things real quick, housekeeping stuff. So if you haven't had the opportunity to take a look, we do have our fall technical summit coming up on November 8th. If you haven't had the chance to register for that, I would encourage everybody to check that out, look at the content, see if it's something that you want to be a part of and get registered. That's coming up. And then the other thing that's RIA news I cannot stop talking about. Ben, I don't know if you guys have had the opportunity to take advantage, but our affinity partnership with Verisk and the Xactimate discounts that we're affording our members. Are you guys participating in that?
Absolutely. I hope everybody is. And if you have not taken the time to do so, it would be well worth your time to look at that. And I think it could benefit you greatly.
Yeah, discounts are pretty awesome. I keep an Xactimate license alive personally, and I signed myself up a few days ago and was like, oh, man, this is great. Saving myself a lot of money because that Xactimate bill is pretty steep, man. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. My first question for you, how'd you get started in property restoration? I always find that nobody's sitting in a sandbox at 9 years old going, I want to suck water out of basements, right? We all end up here through some weird story. What's yours?
Well, funny story. Next year will be 30 years. I entered the restoration business. So I was in college at the time and had been in the construction field. My best friend's dad was in construction. I had worked with him all throughout high school and the beginning of college. And I actually had a buddy of mine who I went to high school with go out and learn the restoration business, actually moved to Florida and got licensed and moved down there, and then decided to move back home to Georgia. And we just crossed paths a couple times and invited me to have lunch. And we started talking about it. I didn't even know there was such a thing as restoration industry. And at the time, there wasn't much of one, but I felt fortunate to have fallen into it when I did, like I said, almost 30 years ago, and started at the bottom hustling back in the days of map books, Rand McNally map books and cars,
Yep. Oh, yeah.
rolls of quarters and pay phones, and when you would meet adjusters and go look at 2-3 houses a day.
Yep. I remember when MapQuest came out, and I was a technician, you started getting MapQuest directions stapled to your paper files. That was a step in the right direction for sure.
My kids think I'm ancient when I tell those stories.
My kids are still young, so they think I'm still cool, but I'm sure my days are coming, man. Tell us a little bit about Southeast Restoration Group.
Well, we're located here in the headquarters is here just north of Atlanta, Georgia. We've been in business for 24. Next year will be our 25th anniversary that we've been in business here. We've been fortunate enough to expand into different markets, and so we have 10 locations spread out through 8 different markets in Georgia and Tennessee. About 260 team members total right now, and continuing to grow the organization and look forward to for a long time to come.
I think when you and I met, you guys had less than 200, I believe, right? So you've grown a lot in the past 2 years.
A couple of years, yeah, we've been busy.
What has fueled your growth?
I think a lot of our business development efforts and relationships that that we've built over the years, and then obviously the number of markets that we're in. We have had a couple of cat situations here in the southeast that from storms to freezes that have elevated that. So that's kept us busy. Seems like we have one or two of those a year that affect our at least several of our locations, if not all of them.
Yeah, the everybody got a good Christmas present this past year, except for Hawaii. We didn't get a nice freeze, but we never did.
We first time in 30 years, I missed Christmas with the family. I didn't miss it. I just didn't get to spend much of it with, with the family. We started servicing claims on the Christmas Eve on the morning and worked for about 21 days straight through after that. So our team worked through the holidays, and we're keeping our fingers crossed. We hope we get to enjoy them this year, but we're certainly grateful for the opportunities we received during the holidays last year.
I heard a story from Mr. Trent Anderson that maybe you shuttled some equipment personally back and forth between some of your locations.
We, in times like that, and I'm still in the ditch with the guys, and I was shuttling equipment and hauling out debris and doing whatever had to be done to get the job set up.
I love it, man. I love it. Why did you choose to continue in property restoration as opposed to building a business in a different area or a different industry?
I don't know. I don't think I chose that. I think it chose me.
Right.
At the time, we were fortunate and growing and busy, and I was learning. The industry, loved the construction industry, and I think it was just because of the opportunity to service different people every day was something that was just attractive to me, and I enjoyed that aspect of it.
Awesome. I mean, that kind of leads into my next question. If you had to single out your favorite part or area of restoration, what would it be?
It's probably the relationships we've built internally and externally over the years, and across the country and really across the world with different restorers, and having the opportunity to talk shop and get to know people better in this industry, and really help them out. We've got an industry that is really helpful when it comes to having each other's back and helping each other's out, and I've built some great relationships over the years. So I think that's my favorite part of being in the industry for this many years.
Tell me a story, like the one that sticks out in memory, where somebody came and helped you out. Another restorer showed up and made your business better. I'm running off script, just so everybody knows.
I'm going to have to think about that. I've had help from other people in the industry. I'm trying to think about a specific project where we've called somebody else in. Let's come back to that.
We'll come back to it, man. No worries. One of my favorites. What do you see as the greatest challenge restorers are facing or will face in the next 5 years? Look into the future. What do you see?
I really wish it was not the case, but unfortunately, I think it's the economy and the political environment, where everybody's having to fight against, that really dictates and mandates, everything from pricing out there to logistics, supply chain, everything that is involved, and keeping up with the inflation and the cost at the same pace to be able to keep the cash flow solid in our businesses and continue to do what we do, and not allowing the accounts receivables to climb up in the meantime.
Yeah, specific to AR, is it sticky adjusters, the policies associated with it? If you had to, like pick one or top 5, like what would you say are the greatest challenges there?
I'm probably the wrong person in our organization to ask that, but if I had to say, it was the workload that the carriers, likely have put on their adjusters and their teams, and the amount of time it takes to settle these claims and get these, checks submitted. And then, if mortgage companies are involved and inspections, I mean, it just takes time.
I hear that. So what's the one thing you can't stop thinking about that's inside of our industry? What gets you excited?
I think it's the potential that we have in our markets to make a difference in our communities. That's really, communities are continuing to grow. The building boom has been there. There's just more, commercial and residential properties, and things are going to happen. So having those opportunities to go service, some of those establishments, commercially in the communities, and then residentially, being able to put those people's lives back together. I mean, I think that's what keeps us coming back every day.
Awesome. I had a guy one time, we had a giant CAT event, and I was up on my soapbox running Premier, and I made this speech about, like, we're not just here to do jobs, we're here to take care of the community, and that's our duty and our service. And then one of our crews was running late for their next appointment. So I called him. I was running dispatch at the time, and I called him and I was like, guys, where are you? Like, I looked on the GPS. You've been stopped in this one weird place on the North Shore for 15 minutes. What the hell's going on? And they're like, boss, you told us to take care of the community. This uncle was clearing brush out of a stream bed, and we stopped and helped him because you told us to. And I was like, okay, that sounds good.
That's amazing. I'll tell a quick story going back to what we were talking about a minute ago in the freeze. We were able to secure a very large loss at a local church here near our home location north of Atlanta, and our team did an incredible job of servicing the emergency service out of that, and then we got the reconstruction, and we finished that up in September, and it's fresh on my mind because just yesterday we were able to go and serve that church. When we finished that job, they were going to have an open house and let the congregation come back in. We were able to go as a organization and feed them lunch, and we had almost 600 people from their congregation come. And then we had over 40 team members and family members of Southeast come to serve their congregation. They didn't have to do anything. We set it up and took care of the lunch, and we were able to serve them and give them back. And there was a beautiful, dedication and prayer service that all took place after the lunch. But just a really sweet time and an opportunity to give back to that church and that congregation, and really back into the community with that many people.
That's awesome. That's a great story. There's something about feeding people, being the person that feeds somebody, that that line of stewardship, right? You put food.
You want to have people turn out. You just tell them you're going to feed them. They'll show up.
Right. How long have you been on the board?
This is my 6th or 7th year.
Okay.
Serving on the RIA board.
And usually I know I have my story of how I came to be on the board, but who talked you into it? Who said, Ben, come on, man, jump in on this. We need you.
It was my dear friend Mark Springer out of Montana, with Fleet and Day Spring, had been after me and for a long time, and the RIA organization had been good to me and good to the industry, and I just felt like it was time to give back and go and serve in that capacity. I've been fortunate to serve in those roles, locally and regionally, but to go back and give back to the industry that's been so good to us. So Mark twisted my arm, and I'm glad he did.
I think it's a victory that you held out as long as you did, because Mark has been on the board forever. So, and I know he was probably calling you day one. So you held out for 5 years?
It was my stubbornness. Yeah, we were growing the organization and planting locations, and the timing was right.
Oh, that's funny. And so why did you eventually join?
just because I felt like the industry was at a place where it needed some new leadership and some fresh ideas, and it was moving in the right direction. Mark and the rest of the board had started some great initiatives, and we're moving it in the right direction. And felt like it was important that we have some people in the industry that wanted to continue to build on that momentum. So that was my main reason.
Got it. And then looking, more recently, what have you been doing within the RIA to make the lives of restorers better?
Working with the AGA inside of the RIA, but working with the AGA and its committees, and then I chaired the first TPA committee where we created the TPA scorecard and some of the position papers that we have been able to come through with to help us have conversations with the TPAs and with some of the adjusters on some of the issues that were continuing to come up and cause contractors grief, and making sure we were all on the same playing field and really having a voice for the contractors in the RIA.
Can I run off script again? Is that okay?
Sure.
So
I can't promise you I'm going to answer, but yeah, you can
no, it's all good, man. So one of the things that's always impressed me about your organization is that there is a certain percentage of your work that is TPA. You kind of leaned in to that when other restorers were actively trying to get out of it. And, from the outside looking in, it appears as though that you found some success operating in the TPA environment. Now, tell me if I'm wrong. My assumptions are wrong, number one. But number two, if my assumptions are correct, what do you attribute that success to? Like, why did you find success where others were willing to give up?
Well, I believe it was, the foundational elements. We have been part of TPA programs from the onset of Southeast Restoration and me before that. So some of the foundational elements, some of the relationships that been able to build over the years, and in this industry, having the multi resources, being able to pull from different resources and have opportunities from different areas. I won't tell you that it hadn't got harder, and that there hadn't been more deliverables demanded in those areas and things from the carriers or the TPAs, but we've been able to to this point work with our teams and be able to deliver on what they've requested through to this point, and continue to have some of those relationships that produce opportunities on a consistent basis.
Yeah, the TPA work is one of those things where whenever anybody starts beating the drum, like, oh, I'm going to get off these programs, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm like, well, it's kind of like a project management platform. Like, people are usually pretty quick to quit, and I'm like, yeah, but if you just lean into it, maybe there's something there. Like, I feel like if you continue to double click, so to speak, in those areas, usually you can start to find some gold veins and start to mine it. But
I think my team would tell you I've been just stubborn enough to I'm not a quitter. I don't like to quit on anything. So I've been just stubborn enough to hang in there and figure out the solutions like you're talking about along the way. And I think there's more than one way to skin a cat, and we've been able to work through some of the challenges that comes along with having some of that TPA work. And like I said, we've built our organization through some of those relationships, and we're grateful for them.
Awesome. Mentors or sources of inspiration. Who inspired you when you were coming up in the industry?
Going back, to the beginning again, felt like the restoration industry was really small. And then there's still days like today where, it's a small world and you run across the same people and have relationships. But, the easy answer, it's people like Marty King, Pete Consigli, Ken Larson. I mean, those guys that really kind of help set the foundation of the industry and of the RIA. And have, just done great things over the years. And Marty's passed on, but Pete and Ken continue to just be champions and do great things for the industry. And so grateful for their knowledge and the history and, what they brought to it. And then, more recently, I was fortunate in my early days. I met a young guy about my same age, and who had been in the business with his family a little while. But Phil Rosebrook and came along and introduced me to two other guys, Mark Springer, I've already mentioned, out of Montana, and then Warner Cruz with Blue Sky out of Chicago. And we were all in our young 20s, and scrappy hustlers, and ready to conquer the world. And we've really had each other's back for a long time, and along the way, it's been really fun, helping each other out and being there for each other, and the good times and the difficult times. We've made treks across the country to help each other out. But I'm grateful for each of those guys, and then more, and even way back then with Mark Davis, and more recently Katie Smith, our current president, and Jeff Moore, our vice president of the RIA, are all doing just phenomenal things to move the industry forward.
So here's a fun setup. If you had $100,000, just $100,000 to start a restoration business today, how would you deploy the capital?
Well, I wish I would have had the $100,000 30 years ago.
Right.
It would have gone a whole lot further. That would have been like $1 zillion back when we started the company. $100,000 today feels like a FedEx package being picked up or something out here. But I think the easiest answer is always mitigation equipment, or technology, or something like that. And it's all good answers. To go kind of outside the box, I really believe I would invest it in talent and people. We've had a philosophy of hiring good people and the right people, and paying them well to do the job they're expected to do. So I really believe I'd use that money to bring in top quality talent.
I think that's wise. And then what's the one piece of advice you'd give to any restorer in their first year or two of business?
It can be a very rewarding industry. If you're in it just to make a quick buck, I would challenge them, because there's a lot of other avenues out there, and a lot more today than there were back in the day in society to make a quick buck. If you're in it for the quick buck, you're probably not going to go far in the wrong industry. If you're in it for the long haul, which is we wanted slow, steady, consistent growth over the last 25 years, and we've been very blessed in doing so. It's provided a very comfortable life for myself and for others in our organization, and plenty of others in the industry. And and most of all, it's very rewarding when you're able to put people back together after they've had situations and tragedies happen, and likely their largest asset, and when they're in a time of need, and don't have the time to deal with it and fool with it, and you're able to go in and really help them out and put them back together really better than they were before the loss, and give them hope. I think that's the biggest thing.
I would agree. So, running off script one last time. See this hat I'm wearing?
I do, yes.
Tell me a little bit about, kind of this hat in particular. I can't remember what year it was, but because you guys run the annual theme thing very, very well. So tell me a little bit about how you do that, and why you continue to do it, and where you found success with it.
I think that was 2020 or 21. I'd have to look back, but we put something in place. years ago to where we really wanted to get the entire organization behind a theme for the year, and it gives us opportunity not only on an annual basis but on a quarterly basis to determine, where our goals are sitting, what our priorities and initiatives, should be, what things we should be focusing on, and then it allows us to speak the same language to everybody in the organization, and just gives them a purpose and allows them to get behind a purpose. So we put time and effort into building these, over the years, and we launch it at the beginning of every year. And we've been very fortunate, and it's been really fun to do so. We've had some really cool stories and things to come out of it. So there's usually a hat or a shirt, or here's our current challenge coin. Our theme this year is row the boat.
Okay.
So you can. That was our current theme this year was row the boat, which I completely R&D'd or ripped off and duplicated from football coach out of the University of Minnesota, PJ Fleck. Has a row the boat theme for his team up in the University of Minnesota, and has some foundation behind it, and was doing some great things not only for his team but in the community, and just really loved the way he loves on his team and coaches. And we had the opportunity to do something around row the boat a couple of years ago, but we made it a full annual theme this year. So it's fun things that you can build momentum and initiative around, and again, be able to speak purpose and to the entire organization where you're speaking the same language, toward your goals.
Yeah, I agree. And I will say that, this is another one of those things about your organization that continues to impress me, is how you guys utilize the themes and, kind of bring everybody together around those common objectives. It's really, really impressive now.
It's fun. It's fun stuff. That's one of the things I enjoy the most.
So we did get a comment from Stanley. So another off script. He says, not sure if there's a Q&A segment. I didn't build it in, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. Stanley would love to hear your thoughts on M&A surrounding restoration companies and what you think is in store for the future. That's a loaded question.
Man, I thought I was going to get through this entire thing without that question coming up.
Well, Stanley's giving it up, man. So
I'll give you my 2 cents, and that's about all it's worth. But I will tell you that in the industry, it has been very busy and very beneficial for a lot of people over the last couple of years. There have been people on both sides of that equation who have benefited from it. Depending on your situation, there's some good opportunities out there, and some great companies that are really diving into the M&A space. I did some of my master's work in M&A here locally at the university, and myself and my partner and CFO, we actually did that several years ago, and so I'm versed on M&A before it even got heavy and busy in our industry. Yeah. I have 2 kids myself that are both young and that are interested in working in the organization, and I've got another one, not sure if she'll come along and be interested or not, but I get asked all the time. There's obviously lots of inquiries about something we're interested in, and I tell people I won't ever say no, and I'm always listening to what's going on out there in the industry. But currently we're at a great place. I'm having way too much fun with our team and with the kids and being in the industry, and I feel like I'm still young most days, and got a lot to give to the industry, and really enjoying what I do. I'm not money, financially driven. So if I was, I would already be gone and be on an island somewhere, and drinking a umbrella drink. But I'm not, and so I'm not financially driven. I'm driven by seeing things grow and success of the organization, and really giving opportunities to our team members. And I just really still enjoy getting up every morning and coming to work and making a difference internally in our team members' lives and externally in the lives of those that we have the opportunity to go out and serve. And so until that changes, I don't foresee anything changing on our end. But I don't make any promises, and I never say never. Who knows what's around the corner and what the future holds. But I know it has been successful and beneficial to some of my nearest and dearest friends in the industry, and so happy for them and glad they did it. And since they did it, maybe they can take me to the island with them and buy me one of those umbrella drinks.
Well, you're always welcome to come to Hotel Nelson here.
There
I'll
you
save
go.
the umbrellas for you,
Keep
man.
telling me I'm coming, so get ready. I'm just going to show up on your doorstep one day.
Until we had the fire, Atlanta had a direct flight, man. You could have flown direct to Maui.
I know.
It'll come back, though. It'll come back. Don't worry.
The last time I was there, it didn't have a direct flight, and then they added one. Now they're taking it away, but maybe it'll be back.
I hope it is, because as much as that plane runs this direction, it also runs your direction, and I look forward to spending some more time in Atlanta with you and your team.
We're looking forward to seeing you here soon. It's always great to spend time with you. And again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you having this format and open this up and allowing us to do that and really get to know each other, but get to know the members of the RIA better, and look forward to hopefully seeing more of them in Dallas in April. Yeah. We're going to April 8th, 9th, and 10th. We're going to have our RIA conference, and it's already setting up, and we've got commitments. It's going to be the biggest one so far. Last year was the biggest, and this one's already going to surpass it. And so come out and see. There's going to be a solar eclipse. I think there was just one.
There was one. Yeah,
this weekend, but I think there's going to be one the week we're in Dallas. It's going to be coming through Dallas, and it's going to be a spectacle. So come out and share with us, and be part of this RIA conference. There's going to be a lot of great things happening that week, and we got a lot of great trade partners that are going to be out there, vendors that are going to be out there, and obviously all the RIA members. So come out and see us in Dallas in April.
I know I'll be there. That's for dang sure. All right. I'm going to wrap us down. Anything you'd like to share in closing?
Nope. Grateful for you and grateful for the RIA. If you're watching this, you're not involved or not a member yet, I would highly encourage you to look into the memberships with the RIA. And if there's any questions you have, please reach out to us, and we will share and help you get involved. We need the restorers, in this industry, working together and continuing to build, on this network that we've built over the years. And great things are happening, moving in the right direction, opening up a lot of conversations that haven't been open for a long time, and really making some headway.
I agree with you, Ben. Thank you so much for taking some time, and I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks.
I look forward to seeing you. Y'all take care.
Aloha.